Okay, thank you. We will open this meeting of May 2nd, the year's gone by, 2003, time being 3 p.m. Let the records show that all selectmen are present. At this time, I would like to enter a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:3, personnel.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. Make a motion, we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to personnel permanently.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next week, Paul St. Hilaire from Bestway cannot make the May 20th date, but his brother Archie can. He's also an officer of the...
I've lost, what's that got to do with next week?
Next week, May 20th, we wanted him to come in...
Next week is at May 20th.
I'm sorry.
The week of May 20th?
The week of May 20th at 11 a.m. Last week we had said we would like to have a meeting with them at 11 a.m. Their response was, Paul cannot make that date, but Archie could.
And what is his position in the company?
He's also an officer of the company.
Yep.
That was at 11?
Mm-hmm. Are we okay with Archie coming?
As long as he has the same authority.
Yeah. Okay, that's the 20th at 11.
Archie was at the meeting. I met Archie today. Dennis and I talked with the Bestway people.
Okay, so as long as he has the same authority as Paul. Okay. We have a request for Catherine, this is elderly exempt, correct?
That's the disability.
Oh, it's a disability.
That's the one that Lauren mentioned.
Okay. We have a request for an untimely filed. It was received on 4/30. Lauren has okayed it, meets all the requirements. So it's up to the board whether or not we want to accept the disability on this one. Joyce, you want to? Yep. Mike's coming in at 5:30, so.
Where is Brookfield Drive? Is that one of the trailer parks, Brookfield Drive?
Mm-hmm.
That's good, Kevin. Kevin, I just read your message about the other. That's good. That would clarify.
Cover it? So we don't have the worksheet that shows the actual assets, right?
That Heather has that. Oh, it's for the, no.
But this is for a mobile home, not on its own property?
This is one of the elderly exemptions. Lauren does the worksheet, and then once it's approved, she either destroys it or returns it to the homeowner.
I mean, I still have that information. I haven't shredded it yet. Go down and get it to show you. That's the disability.
I'm still cautious. We
disability
had
one?
one of these that we approved and shouldn't have a few years back. She ended up owning land.
Oh, yeah. She doesn't.
So this one doesn't own land,
When was that, do you remember?
just a mobile home.
Yeah, that was,
Land separate
The
from
fire
the
one?
house, it's, the property that was being
That was a long
presented?
time ago.
no,
Catherine?
that wasn't
is
the
it
fire
not?
one. No.
Land
it was
This
the
one a few
fire.
years ago
other than yeah?
owned her home, then I think there were 2 lots.
2 lots, right.
This says, there's a disabled exemption checked, granted, and then it says, I believe it's a blind exemption with an amount in there, but it's not checked.
She's just getting the disabled exemption.
Why is that amount in there for the blind exemption?
Let me see, because this is the standard form we use, and we put in all our exemption amounts. All of our forms have all the amounts of our exemptions.
Is she already getting the blind?
No, she's not. It's just that if she were applying, everybody uses the same form. If she were applying for the blind, then she would have checked the blind, and that's a $45,000 exemption.
Does she qualify?
For the blind?
Yeah.
No, she didn't apply for the
Well,
blind.
I still don't know why it's in there.
Because all of our forms,
No, all the
all
forms
of
are
our
made that
exemption
way.
amounts, it's the same
Tells you-
form.
But
Exemption amount.
somebody put in the 45,000.
Yeah, we did.
blind.
We put in the 50,000, the 80,000, the 125, the 50, and the
If she's only
45.
filing,
But
All
tells
that
you-
information is on the form.
It's on the
She only
form.
checked one box.
She checked the one box.
That applies.
Yeah, we have them for each category of the elderly as well, and this is also our veterans credit, tax credit form.
I know, but if they're only applying for one, why would you fill it out for all the others? That's just
We
me.
didn't.
No, they just put the...
It's the same form for all of our,
Have that on there.
I understand why it was done, I just don't know why it was done.
because we have to if somebody wants to know, what are all the exemptions you give and tax credits you give for the town and the amounts, it's all on that form.
Yeah, up here, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I understand.
So did you want to look at the financial information that went with that?
No, I'll make a motion that we accept the untimely filing.
I'll second it.
I'd like to look at it.
You want to look at it?
Yeah, it's coming my way.
I don't have enough information.
Okay. Did you say you had it?
Sure, I'll be right back.
I just got an email that says I've been awarded Chef of the Year by the New Hampshire Food Bank for the second time.
Wow!
That's really nice.
Those are the cooking classes I was telling you I
Oh,
teach. Second time.
Very nice.
Nobody's ever won it twice. In this state. I mean, they have other states that, this is a national program.
I've had your bread and cookies, I know why you're elected.
forward that, can you forward that to me? And then I'll,
Yeah, okay.
you want me to go on or wait?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. There's,
Catch up with that
yeah, there's also in your confidential, the,
right here. This is the Heather one.
now, if we could, at some point, I'd have two appeals that should be discussed in non-public. One is Fairpoint, and the other is Sherryland. It's just a quick update. Oh, those are copies for each board member. Is that the hardship abatement one you're
No,
looking
I'm not
at?
taking one, yeah, because it's confidential.
That's why I didn't take one. I read it.
I read it.
Okay.
Because we're going to
Yeah.
give it back to you anyway.
Can I see that?
Yeah, Catherine, Heather
I'll give you
doesn't
this
need to
part.
make a
I
lot of
just wanna look at
copies
this.
for determination.
Does he already get get an abatement for his taxes?
Oh,
I don't know who you're talking
it's
about.
something different.
This is the one she's doing now, Joe.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is just a request for the sewer,
This is just the resewer. There are no property taxes.
so he must be getting an elderly or something. He owns a mobile home, so there'd be taxes. So those are getting abated somehow because of what, elderly?
No, he gets an elderly. This is the,
So yes, he gets an elderly
yes, he gets
exemption?
an elderly. This is for the 2010 and 2011 lien of the sewer.
But there's nothing on Fisher? Or has Catherine got it?
Catherine's got it.
What's that?
I shouldn't be saying the name.
Oh, wait. The worksheet?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
This is
The
the
worksheet
other
that goes
one.
with the other
Yes,
one.
That's the one that I'm looking for.
The one that she mentioned earlier, are they still receiving a disability exemption?
Are these welfare liens?
No.
This is new. Filed untimely.
No, she mentioned one prior that was getting a disability and owned other property.
A couple years ago, when we
Oh, I see
made a
what this
motion
is.
to accept an
I see what
untimely
this is.
filing.
Oh, an untimely filing.
Right. We found out after the fact that the person owned another piece of property, actually 2 lots, I believe, at that time. Do you remember, a couple years back?
I wasn't trying to remember.
Yep.
This one? Okay, so we didn't grant it.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. I remember that. Yep.
So Pat, do you have a motion on the table?
I do have a motion on the table, but Catherine and Joe wanted to see the worksheet.
I don't see anything
Say
that
what it
says she's disabled, either one.
But the worksheet, it shows you the income.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
That's what they go by.
They qualify for all of that, but
Right.
it doesn't say anything about they're disabled. That's what the boxes check. But there's no documentation that says that there's any disability.
Let's go with that.
There's a letter. There
I
should be
see the letter, it never once mentions disability,
Yes.
not once.
Stapler in there that goes with them.
I happen to know that there's Social Security and there's Social Security disability payments, which are 2 separate things altogether. So I don't see anything that actually has the disabled label on there, and it even says waiting on the thing that she is disabled.
She's
Catherine,
gone.
you have to answer this one because I didn't do it.
But I
Yep, do you want to take that over there?
If this didn't qualify, I'm great to sign it, but I just don't see it in there.
That's all he did was these
I missed it. I missed it. Oh,
Four.
it's there. It's
4
there.
outlets.
Down at the
That's
bottom,
just
there's
getting
a
paid now?
5-word sentence in there
That's
that
it?
does say it.
Really?
Call the question.
Catherine, you all set? You read it?
Which one?
The untimely
The
filing?
one we were
No, I
reading,
haven't read the untimely filing.
documentation. Right there. And the way that works is you have to have been disabled by the standards of the Social Security Administration for at least 12 months prior to their finding. So,
Sum of all assets. I don't know how some people survive.
they get abatements. Well, that's part of it.
It's really tough to survive on that,
Well, and then
with them.
you're heat.
I know you're right.
Disability. Yeah, I'm good. Yes, I'm good.
Okay,
I don't know where the rest
is there
of
any
it
more
is.
discussion on the motion? All those in favor of granting the untimely filing,
Aye.
please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No? Abstain? Okay.
I voted yes.
Okay, all in favor? All right. Go ahead, Joyce.
Okay, the letters to the property owners that were going to be having their annual data verification process were sent out by Avatar on April 29th, and so far I've only received 3 telephone calls from people that had a question as to when they would be coming.
I'm ready.
So, just wanted you to know that was done. The second quarter report for our EPA grant was submitted, and I believe I emailed you all a copy.
The speaker's buzzing.
Oh. And then as far as we had sent Kathy Mitchell's letter to Rip Patton, and Catherine Dawson wanted to know why he hadn't responded yet, so I sent him another reminder, and he said that they are formally responding to the letter, and he said he will also include costs. Our end of our comment period is May.
Say when?
No, he just said that he will do it, and he's formally responding to the letter. May 8th is the end of our public comment period. And I haven't received any other comments. Those are the only comments.
It's a speaker.
This was on
Sounds
the
like a
6th.
giant bee and they're buzzing on the
Right
back.
there. Duh.
Okay. That's the worksheet that goes with that, not necessarily together.
Right.
I received a phone call from a resident that lives down in Lockmere, wanting to know if there was any way to get a cleanup crew to pick up the trash along Silver Lake Road, Church Street, River Road, and 3 and 11. I guess it's a nice little walking loop that people use. And I suggested that the New Hampshire Department of Transportation, they have some wonderful programs where people can sponsor to clean it up, and the state will provide the blue bags, and, offered to send her that information if she wanted to get together with other residents down there. And
Did we include that sidewalk in the sweeping?
I walk my side of the road down there in that corner, and I pick it up a couple times a year.
I don't know the answer to that. That would be Dennis, because we maintain those sidewalks.
Yeah.
What's the question, Catherine?
Did
Were
we
they
include cleaning the sand off those sidewalks when we had Mr. Rabbit.
We did. My street was cleaned anyway.
I haven't noticed.
There was no dirt on the sidewalk anywhere near my
Would you
house.
ask Dennis if that is something
The
that
road was.
he routinely,
Yeah, I know that, I mean, I asked him about the from here going all the way up to Shaw's, because I saw a lot of sand in the curb, and he says he does not clean the sand that's in the curbs, because that's state highway.
state, he just does the sidewalk.
Just does the sidewalks.
They're all the same.
They swept down there for sure. I saw the sweeper go by.
So she wanted to know if there was any way that we could use correctional facilities people to do that.
Yep.
Or did you want our highway people to do it?
Corrections facilities is fine.
Yep, he can call up, make arrangements to do that.
Dennis can, or you want the homeowner?
Yeah, he's done it
Dennis?
before.
Okay.
I used him in the park. Well, I used state prison. He could use county.
Be nice to do Grange Road while they're at it, up there.
You can get them out there for a week and have them do the town.
Now, Catherine, do they supervise it, or does the town forces have to supervise?
When I had them in Riverfront Park, they supervised them, but like I said, that was state prison, not county.
Right, well, these are primarily state roads, 3 and 11, Silver Lake, Grange Road.
All the trash is on town property. None of it's in the road. They go down the road, they throw their crap out the window, and the swamp across from my house, the water drainage area, looks like a dump. After the entire winter, it's terrible over there.
Right, but that isn't town property, that's state.
Well, it's in the town.
Oh,
and
and to be
that's not
signed
state, that's part of the...
If it's not on the sidewalk,
No.
then it's in the woods.
Confidential folder.
Then it's
It's private property.
It's on private
It's not
property.
town property, but it's not state property either. It's private residences. None of that's town property as far as I know.
Okay,
Let them install a job.
all right, so I'll call Dennis and see if Dennis can get in touch with the state and see if they would do that. I just thought it'd be nice that, you know, if people are using that as a walking loop, that they might want to sponsor, you know, we can give them all the supplies that they can do that.
And somebody's got to organize that?
Cycling for that very purpose. Blue bags, and you take and tie them, you fill them up, tie them up, leave them beside the road, and Dennis said he'll go and get them.
He'll pick them up? Well, if the state can't do it, why don't we use that as our fallback position? Okay.
Put a bunch of kids to work.
Okay.
And then the last thing I have is I haven't written a letter from our board to the Tilton Northfield Fire District Fire Commissioners because I wanted their minutes. I wanted to know what they said and what their plan was. So
That's redundant. Doesn't matter what their plan is. It really doesn't.
Can I finish, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to make sure that what we're telling them is something we're going to go ahead and do, no matter what they say or not, because what the Sanborn Selectmen have done is they would like to meet with they want to meet with the Tilton Selectmen.
Yeah.
Okay? They've invited the Belmont Selectmen, but the Belmont Selectmen haven't responded yet. They will invite them again. They want to invite the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners. And we have a tentative date set for Wednesday, May 29th at 4:30. That's
Keep in
when
mind
the
that they don't
Sanborn-
want to include us.
Right, but what I'm saying is that this is, what I want to tell the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners is, yes, we understand that they're the governing body for the fire district, that you have been invited by the Sanborn Selectmen. We have common interests with the Sanborn Selectmen. The Tilton Selectmen are going to be participating.
Right.
So I don't want to get into, no, this is your turf and this is their turf, just saying, we are participating.
The reason we're participating is because the town of Tilton is responsible for the safety of its citizens. Doesn't matter what the fire commissioners say in their minutes or not.
Right.
Our position is, and has been stated several times, is that if they're not willing to make a deal for fire protection down there with those entities, we are free to do so
Right.
on our own behalf.
Right, but they're not saying that they're not willing to make a deal.
Right.
They're saying that they are willing to talk with them. It's just they don't think that the time is right now because you have to have Belmont's participation. But they're not saying that they're not going to have anything to do with it. That's what I was trying to clarify.
Right.
It was very clear to me, and from listening to their meeting and then reading the minutes, they have not shut the door on this, and they want to participate.
Their belief is that they are the sole proprietors of fire protection for the town of Tilton. That's their that's their job, and we have nothing to do with that. If we recognize an area of the town that is insufficient in the fire protection, and we wish to proceed and find those services other than with the district, we're free to do so. That is what they don't recognize.
Okay, and that's what this board wants the letter to say.
Right.
That's what I want to be clear on.
That
That's what
regardless-
this-
The minutes that you got, it was very clear, or was it not clear to you, that they want to shut out the Tilton Selectmen from any decision made on Winnisquam fire area?
That was not my impression that I received from them. They said that they wanted to have, that it was the fire district that was the governing body.
Correct.
For that.
There
But
it
they
is.
have not shut out discussions. They have not even
Not shut out
said...
discussions. They have not, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they've shut out the Tilton Selectmen
That's right.
from engaging in a conversation with them and making decisions with them based on the safety of the town of Tilton residents. And they have completely and totally, in motions by Commissioner Clark, to exclude the Tilton Selectmen. According to the motion, he wants the governing body to be Tilton Northfield Fire Department, and that is incorrect. We have just as much stake in protecting the well-being and the safety of our residents.
I think you're both right. You're right, because I'm all about being there. I'm in theory the representative that was appointed by the board to show up. But
And they
can't make-
acknowledge that.
we cannot make any decisions concerning Winnisquam or the Tilton Northfield Fire Department resources. That does not mean that we don't have an interest in protecting our residents, and we need to be sitting at the table to listen to this.
Right.
Because if the fire commissioners say we're not interested, we are still free to pursue engaging them, because
You could
we
give them
supported the
money or
Winnisquam Fire
whatever.
Department for years without the benefit of the district.
When the chairman read the note that, from the Tilton Selectmen, that included the representative from our board, a motion was made after that to make very clear that the governing body is Tilton Northfield Fire Department.
For fire department resources,
No,
it is.
no, for
Any
totally
decision.
excluding it.
Well, they're incorrect.
Well, I don't see that motion.
No, that's very, not in the written minutes. Get the tape.
Fact is, they can't exclude us from a public meeting.
Sandy was at the same meeting.
No.
They can't exclude us from a public meeting.
What they want to do is exclude us from the decision. I don't care about the public meeting.
They have
We have
their
a
own
right to
de-
be in the decision-making process.
They have a decision of their own to make. Do they want to commit Tilton Northfield Fire District resources to that location? If they don't, okay, maybe we do.
Right.
Then it becomes part, we're making part of the decision at that point.
I
But if
totally
we
get
don't
it.
have anybody sitting there to be informed up to that point, are we coming cold? No, we should have somebody sitting there. And I
Exactly.
won't say a word regarding what the fire district should do.
No.
I'll just ask questions if they're pertinent and bring that back here, and we
To the
can make a
board,
decision at that point. I don't think our intent was to negotiate anything with Samerton and Belmont.
But at this point, they
At this
don't,
point.
but at this point, they don't even want you to attend because they're going to handle it.
But
No, I should.
that's not, I mean, I listened
That's
to
not
the
according-
tape, and I read the minutes, and they have not shut the door on it. I could understand.
They've not shut the door on the idea of opening talks about Winnisquam. They've not shut out the idea.
There's no-
But what they have shut out is they want Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS to be the sole governing body of any decisions that go on, opening negotiations for Winnisquam, period. So Northfield Selectmen and Tilton Selectmen would be totally excluded from that decision, and it's wrong, because we are the ones that are responsible for the safety of our residents.
And the Winnisquam Fire Department disbanded and folded up a few years back, and they were going through negotiations of dividing up assets. We were hard-pressed, in fact, I think there was one meeting that we found out about, but the fire commissioners absolutely refused to allow us to be involved, even though the town of Tilton, independently from the fire district, supported that station for years, purchasing fire trucks for years. So we had on our own assets within that fire department that we weren't allowed to negotiate for, because they kept us out of the loop. They were quite successful in that.
Okay. Just finish up on this, I think I can do this without a non-public session. This is a disposition of abatement form, and here's the whole folder, which I do on every abatement. I have a folder like that, and all the information's available.
Oh,
Okay. That would be my recommendation, too.
And on the other matter, there's nothing for you to do tonight. I just want you to be aware that the individual did accept the,
Our offer?
no, he did not accept our offer. He accepted the final offer.
Okay.
so it was really the first one.
And,
Surprise, surprise.
and Lauren has prepared the forms, but we're holding on to them until we actually receive the signed settlement back. So when that signed settlement comes back, I will need a non-public session. I'm just waiting for Cindy to come back. She'll be here on Monday, because we have to do some research on some of the properties. You're not surprised?
Does the individual have to be present
No,
to sign it?
no,
Goes down.
no, she mailed it to him.
Okay.
And then at that time, I can share some other information with you.
I won't sign it.
So we won't need a non-public.
Okay.
I just made you aware.
Do I
Ever.
ever?
I'm not in favor of signing that one either.
Which
Will we have a
one? The
vote that
Fairpoint
we're
one?
going to make that
No, the other
offer or
one.
whatever?
But you guys
We
voted
did
3
make
to
the
2.
offer.
Yeah,
I know.
well, I
It's a 3 to
voted
2
no.
vote.
I don't know.
I got to get 3 signatures on it.
Well, I know two, you're not.
I know, so don't be scaring me like that. Because then we will go to BTLA.
I want to be done.
Not.
I agree with Catherine on
Too,
that
but
one.
I have other ideas.
Me too.
All right.
Maybe we'll talk later, Al.
I just want you to know that
We'll have a
this,
And
non-meeting.
their opinion
last
of
week
that-
and this week have been very busy. I think the good weather brings everybody and their brother out. So it's, wouldn't you agree, Catherine, that this week we were just, and last week, just dealing with people, so.
And that is
Did
our
manage to get
job.
some of the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm good with that decision as well.
Okay, do we
I'm done.
Let's
need
let
to make a
them,
motion, or do we just
do
sign
we-
it?
I think just sign it.
Okay,
if you're okay with the way you sign it while you're down there,
yeah.
Oh, it's going to come back this way.
Yeah, you didn't sign this.
Nobody signed it this way.
How you doing, Mike? How you doing?
It's denied, right?
Yep. And that's what it is.
you okay, Joe?
With
You all
what
set?
specifically?
With Fairpoint?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
He hasn't got it yet.
I don't know, I'm not entirely sure what it's about.
I'm sorry, Pat, so are we good with 4:30 for the Samberton?
Is that at 4:30?
That's on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
What is it?
4:30, May 29th, Wednesday,
For what?
at the fire,
Meeting with Sam.
Winnisquam.
Oh, that's when the meeting is?
Yep.
Yep,
4:30?
yep.
So right now, it looks like it's just Samberton and Tilton that are confirming, and then the fire district has been advised of that date, and Belmont will be invited. So now it will be Samberton that will be inviting the commissioners
Okay.
And where is this going to be at?
Meeting's in
at Samberton. It's part of their selectmen's meeting.
Just let me know, Joyce, I'll be there.
Was it 29th, Catherine?
The 29th at 4:30.
It's a Wednesday. There's no budget meeting that I'm aware of. There's no fire commissioners meeting that I'm aware of.
June. All right.
May 29th. Wow. It's a busy month.
Okay, is everybody else set? Joe, you all set to talk with the school on the
Oh,
franchise?
absolutely, yeah, I am.
All right, Mike, come on up. Come on up.
Does everybody know Pam Miller?
Nope, I don't.
We've seen each other, but we were never properly introduced.
Currently the principal of the school, and I'll be
Oh, very nice. Good for you.
Nice to meet
What did you do
you.
before?
Come on up.
What was your prior position?
middle school principal.
Middle school principal.
Come on, bring a chair, Mike. So did they fill you in on a little bit about what we were trying to accomplish or what we wanted to meet about?
Well, they said that they wanted to talk about the educational channel, which
Right.
Joe gave us a little bit of information on at one of our meetings.
Okay.
So we're curious as to what that entails
Well,
and what,
we as the town have to decide where the drop is going to be, where the drops are going to be for education channel. And that's why we wanted to come in and ask you folks to come in and talk with us.
Both Northfield and Tilton both are entitled, according to the terms of this franchise, to an educational channel drop.
Right.
Town of Tilton doesn't have a school. The school district has a school. It's a separate entity, so we can't just automatically say, yeah, this is where it's going to go. If you're not interested in this, and I'm going to bring up I'll keep talking while I find the place over here, then the conversation is short and we all move on. But if you're interested in it, you'd have to let us know where you wanted it. So whether it would be the middle school or the high school or the SAU office or wherever it is that
This
you
is
think
where
that-
you would be airing from.
Great.
I guess our concern is not knowing what the expectations are of the educational channel. You know, and whether
Just
or
have
not-
to use it. There's nothing that goes with this that says you have to do this or you have to do that. You can interact with other schools, you can produce your own programming. It's a drop from MetroCast so that you guys would be able to broadcast if you want or receive if you want it from another school district or whatever.
So we're trying to negotiate the franchise agreement with MetroCast, but we've gone into a consortium with other towns. They're all negotiating the same kind of contract. So it says the franchisee shall provide 3 PEG access channels for broadcasting over the residential system by town or its designee. These channels shall be dedicated for use as follows: 1 for public access programming, 1 for education programming, and 1 for governmental programming. Each channel shall have a dedicated origination point for connection to the cable network at a location to be determined by the franchise authority, which would be us. The franchisee shall provide and maintain all necessary equipment and bandwidth, including upgrades and replacements due to the obsolete technology for the connections of each channel so that they may be viewed by all cable subscribers in the town, provided, however, the town shall be responsible for all equipment costs associated with the specific broadcasting needs and any changes to the origination point locations. So that's kind of where we're at. In last meeting, we said, well, you know, we could easily say, oh yeah, at the middle school, but if you don't want it at the middle school, you know, we're kind of at a detriment now because we've already said that. So we wanted you folks to be in on saying where it should be. Not, so the town of Northfield also is involved in this same franchise agreement coming up, and they have to make a designee point for a education channel for their town of Northfield, so it could be at Union, Sanborn, or Southwick, one of those origination points.
Or the middle school, because they can designate any spot they want.
Or they could
Or the high
designate the
school.
middle school,
Or the high
correct.
school or whatever. You'd have two to deal with.
I would hope that they would go to you and say, hey, where do you want it?
Yeah, so I guess what we need to think about is how we would use that.
Right.
It's like, for example, let's say that it were in the cafetorium at the...
Exactly,
at the high school.
exactly.
Then performances, like
Yes.
concerts and things like that could be...
Be on the channel, right, you could view it, right.
That were the access point. If we had any other kind of programming or anything, we would have to originate it from the stage area to...
Right, correct.
Look, you'd have the drop, and you can run your cables anywhere you want in the building, pretty much.
But
That's my understanding. It doesn't have to be in one room, it just has to be in one building.
But isn't it such that you could do a camera anywhere and then put it into a device that would send it out through the cable?
Whatever way you did it, you'd have one drop to hook into the system, and then however you hook to that modem or whatever it was, hard cables or wirelessly or whatever, I think that's on you.
Computerly.
If you give me your email addresses of how to get in touch with you, I will send you copies of all the applicable language.
Okay.
The rest of it doesn't apply to this, but this all just came up like a week and a half ago, and we talked about it last Thursday, and then invited you guys down here to...
And we know Kirk is very interested in
Yeah.
a drop. He's very interested in it. So, you know, I know that it's either going to be high school or middle school, so it would behoove you probably to get in touch with Northfield now and say, you know, could we have dibs on where you want the educational drop?
You don't have to
Because they could
accept
designate it at the high
right
school,
now.
we could designate it at the middle school.
You don't have to accept it right now. There's a process you can just pass in the short term if you don't have immediate plans, because that's one of MetroCast's thing. If you're not going to use it, please don't make us install all this equipment at their cost, not at yours. You're responsible for the equipment in your building, but they'll bring it in to you. But with 90 days written notice, they will install it for the life of the contract. So you could wait until the beginning of next school year, get your ducks in a row and do it that way, or the next budget cycle, or however it is that you guys wanted to go about this. And like I say, I will be, before the evening's out, I'll have transmitted the appropriate information to you so that you'll have the proposed language. If you have some kind of change, this would be the time, because June 30th is the date for submissions, kind of.
We have to make decisions. We have to make decisions before June 30th. That's our deadline.
Right.
So that's why we called you in to start the talks going to...
Do we know what this channel does? I mean, does the information that we upload just keep...
You're going to have control over the information, so you rule over what is put on there.
Does it just loop, or do you have a say over what
It's
time?
not going out to everyone. It's not going out to everyone. You'd have an enclosed school system. If you tap into that, it could go to...
It's not a public access, if
No,
that's what you mean.
It's not public access. This is an educational institutional tool. You could bring in stuff from the NEA. You could get stuff from Guilford, you could give stuff to Guilford, you could give stuff to the NEA, but you'd have control over what comes in and what goes out. This is merely about equipment and the fact that you would have the ability to have a channel that you could generate information and receive information. We have a lawyer.
You still can, you know, your programs and thing, you'd still be able to record the programs and then play back the programs to whomever. I mean, even for a learning tool, so if you had the orchestra playing or a musical session or something like that and play it back as a learning tool, you could do that. So it's all education. If you had a lecture,
No.
if you,
It's a function, it's a function of that
right,
contract.
so now if you had a lecture going on and you wanted all of the classrooms to see that lecture, so now it's all wired into the classrooms, they would all see that lecture. Right. So, I mean,
What was
that's,
that you would
right.
like to do?
In fact, we were
Right.
talking about filming some professional development, as long as we have the okay to be able to do that, that would be it.
Well, you'd have your own channel to broadcast it within your system. Or
Right.
share it with other systems if the SAU were to the school board were to determine that was the way
Right.
you wanted to go.
And if you had one drop at the high school and one drop at the middle school, you could be all-inclusive to the both schools and get both at the same time.
Now, is that going to play on TV like?
No, it wouldn't
It's
be
not
public
public
access.
access.
No.
Okay.
Closed system.
Closed system.
Yes, you access it, you have
Educational
complete
system.
control over it, so if you just wanted to show it to a small group on your own, that's what you do, you access it and play it to a small group on your own. If you wanted to film the school board for whatever reason, and then go in the back room and laugh, but, no, you could do that.
It seems like the high school would be the appropriate spot.
Yeah, I would think so. You know, it's something that we, get the administrators together, we can kind of brainstorm how we might use it.
And I-
Really, I'm sure there's, because I was thinking public access, and now I'm doing
Right.
everything.
If you don't really need to, like Joe said, you don't have to make a decision tonight, and also, it would behoove you to talk with the Northfield Selectmen as well, to see where they're going to place, if they're going to allow you to make the decision on their educational drop, because you may be able to have one at one at middle school and one at the high school.
What about Southwood
They could decide, if you decide to have one at Southwick, then you would have one at Southwick. So, I mean, there's a lot to think about, and it's something that you can, and Joe has been instrumental in negotiating with the consortium. He's been on the team with the lawyers negotiating this document, which is huge, and it covers everything. So, and we have 3 drops, one education, one government, and the other one. So, it's, if you have any questions, I'm sure Joe or Joyce will help.
If you have any questions that require legal help, let me know. I'll get in touch with Donahue, Tucker, and Chiandella, who's negotiating legally for the entire consortium. And we've already, as a town, paid for this service, so I can ask these legal questions without you guys incurring costs that go with it. Unless you don't want to use them, and you're free to use anybody you want.
If you had a set of questions, we could write them, right?
The one question I have is what is required in terms of the technical management of the system, in terms of what our tech person or whoever would have to control the recording, the broadcasting. Is that major, or is it just a minor thing? Because I just be concerned with what am I adding to some of these things.
Well, that would be an internal matter for you guys.
Right, I would think, right.
This is information that we can share with Kevin Sousa.
I would think it would be rather minor, because we take that and the video now that we're doing as we're speaking here, and then it's just a card, and we place it into equipment and upload it, and then it goes into the system. it all depends on what system. In this case, it would go into the MetroCast system. In our case, it goes into another system. And then it's uploaded, so.
Have some conversations with the other building principals and
Right.
what the use might be, and then
Right.
figure out, how we can best use it.
Right, exactly. Makes sense. Do you, you're going to send them, Joe,
And you'll have it on the way within 30 seconds.
are you doing this whole document or
Just the applicable
portions of it? Okay.
public access. And that'll explain the entire public access, including all the language on the educational. And that's the only restrictions at that point. So what you do internally is a school board, school district matter.
All right, any questions, just let us know. Let Joyce or Joe or any one of
You
us.
have my information there.
Well, I'm sure Pam will read this and bring it to her administrative team.
If you don't have the information, it's right there. You can reach me at my cell anytime you like.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
okey-doke, thank you.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Bye, Mike.
Night, Mike.
Bye.
All right.
It's awesome, they made her assistant superintendent, but that middle school's going to lose a real teacher.
He's
It really
awesome.
is awesome.
He's amazing. Joyce, did you have anything more for us?
No, for Joe, did you get my and Tim's emails with the addresses and including the high schools and the INET? for the internet
I
access?
did, but
Just had a person.
the high school can't be in the INET.
Their head on granite got taken away in the ambulance.
We don't have a high school in Tilton. It has to be a municipal organization or owned by a municipality. The SAU is not negotiating this contract, we are.
Yeah,
Therefore, we cannot hook them into the INET because, unless we pay for it.
Yeah, but aren't they getting free cable now?
This is a network that would include municipal buildings. If we had a library, that could be in it. If we had a fire department or a school, that could be in it. We don't have any of those. We have a police department, public works, and a town hall.
we have a library.
Yeah, you paid for it.
Well, actually, we might get by with that one, but not with the fire district and the other one because they're separate entities.
Those are
Do we own the
districts.
buildings for the high school?
No,
Don't forget our senior center.
owned by the district.
There you go, and I did forget the senior center when I put it down, but you have a copy of it that you can manipulate, that I sent out today. I think I got all the Guilford out of it, but if you notice something, just change it.
Okay.
Just change it.
All right, so you did get my and Tim's, so you
I did.
the senior center.
311.
I did not open that, I got it late today, so I didn't open it yet, but it'll get added.
No, I'm all set.
But you need a non-pub.
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
Next week I will for that, because Cindy will be back, and also I'll have the signed settlement agreement.
Okay.
And the other thing you wanted to sign, so I'm all set.
All right. Chief, you're all set with us? Okay. Sandy, you're
No, fine.
all set? Catherine?
Just to say, I'm going to email all of you my littering ordinance, so you can peruse through it, and hopefully we can adopt it in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good for this week.
Catherine? How are you doing, the Board of Health that you were doing about housing and stuff? You got the
Oh, it's a work in progress. I've contacted a few people. Some things need to be straightened out.
okay.
The littering one comes from 147 instead of 48A, the nuisance law, which is a lot easier to deal with.
Okay.
Al, do you have anything for us?
I'm good this week.
Okay. Joe?
You would now have a, okay, well, let me start out with the senior center line dancing thing. The woman injured her back.
Ouch.
Had to cancel it last second, had to cancel it last weekend. I think I'm pretty sure that anybody who was interested got the call on this. I still have to be in touch with Sarah, although I left messages down there with
She's been on vacation.
Yeah.
Denise.
Denise. I was going to say Linda or Denise, and I forget, but she was going to leave a message for Sarah that this was happening. The consortium, you now have a copy, I feel a pretty clean copy with all the language deleted. There might be a Guilford in there, buried in there, that I didn't change. See the appendixes at the end, add in, like I forgot the senior center. So feel free to add in. If you want to add language, then just highlight it in the color so that I'll know that you added it, that you'd like to see, and I'll bring that up at our next meeting, which I believe is the 27th in Guilford at the town hall. Let me see here. I guess that's it with the consortium. My next thing is that I was at the town transfer station today. We were giving presentation and information to people who were coming to the spring townwide cleanup. Pretty positive. There were a couple of residents who voiced their concerns, and then some. But we gave them information. We had informational packets, and we'll see how, and answered their questions. And so I guess the last thing, oh no, I have a thing here. I attended a meeting of the broadband initiative for the state of New Hampshire recently up at the Planning Commission offices. This whole broadband initiative is very interesting in that it's in the process of trying to map the availability of the internet, both wireless and cable. Is it fiber optic? Is it copper? What are the prices? They're pricing it out of the reach of many businesses. You go to the business package and it's like $500 a month or whatever, depending on the amount of gigabytes that you can upload and download. In order for Tilton to move forward with anything but service-type jobs, if we're going to get tech people up here in the park, or we're going to develop more the higher-paying tech jobs, we need to have internet access at a fast rate of speed. Turns out that the internet and internet access is not regulated on any level by either the federal government or the Public Utilities Commission. Basically, they can charge whatever the market will bear. For installation, for the download speeds, for the upload speeds, and we're coming up in this group with a report and recommendations in order to give them to our local representatives. Unless the state and federal governments start to come into this, there won't be any. There's lots of places in the state where you can't even get the internet. And more now, our future relies on it, whether it's health, whether it's police, whatever it is in our world, businesses and stuff like that, good paying jobs. The future of our state is in the balance. Those who have, and not only that, but it's all about our talent pool as well. Kids graduate from UNH, they graduate from Dartmouth, they graduate from the fine institutions here in New Hampshire, and they go to Massachusetts, New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, the places that have the jobs that'll pay money. And a key component in that is broadband internet service. It just is. So this is a way of advocating for it. Next Tuesday on the 7th at 2 p.m. there's a meeting at the Lakes Region Planning Commission offices on the Little Hill in Meredith. And people are welcome to go and voice their opinions, their needs, their wants, and so forth. They were very surprised to find out that you couldn't exert pressure on cable TV companies through their franchise renewal contracts. But one thing is completely separate from the other, and if they don't want to negotiate, they don't have to, as we are well aware. So that's what's happening in broadband. The recycling effort. We need to discuss where we will sell the bags. Our bins have been ordered. They will say Tilton Recycles on them, etched in. The lids that they have are not conducive to placing a thing on the top like we had with Pinard. They had the flat, smooth lid. The other ones don't. The ones that Best Way buys does not have flat lids. They have the textured lids. You've seen them. What they suggest, and I think it's a good idea, is that when we deliver the buckets, we have the information taped to the top so that they have a flyer automatically with the bin. I've already gotten to Tim, and there's a process of updating the town website with a lot of information, including about what's recyclable, and for those who are completely new, what is not recyclable. That'll be up in, depending on Tim's workload, in the next few days. But where we will have the bags available. People kept asking, where will the bags be? I said, well, in your end of town, it'll be at Tractor Supply. Well, it won't be at Hannaford's. You know, I mean, they're already looking for spots that they go already to make it more convenient.
Right.
And I understand that certainly. But we need to come up with some kind of a decision about who we want to approach. Maybe Hannaford's won't do it. Market Basket won't. At least they wouldn't the last time that they were spoken to, but that's been over a year ago, so I don't know for a fact, but that's my impression. Some Shaw's will. Some of the little guys that I had mentioned before, they were all on board. But there might be, maybe Hannaford's would. Maybe Walmart would. There would be potentially an outlet at Tanger Outlets. That I don't know, they'd sell them. I don't know yet. I don't know. I talked to Eric Prue, who's the manager over there, and he was going to think about how that would work, because they don't have a giant anchor store. It's smaller outlet stores.
Right.
But lots of people go there. So how do you do it? A vending machine? I don't know. But in order to move forward on any level at locations like that, we need a decision of some sort from the boards to at least go out and poll places to see what ones might be willing to do this.
Well, I agree with you with the smaller stores, but it would seem convenient to me if the grocery stores also, because we go to the grocery store all the time.
Yeah.
And if we can get the grocery stores to handle these bags, I think that would be a great convenience for
Absolutely.
townspeople.
Absolutely. You'd still have the issues of two of the bigger grocery stores at Exit 20 are not on board with having these things on their shelves.
And that's Market Basket
And Walmart.
Walmart won't do it either?
That was the result of the last time I asked. Again, more than a year ago, because this was more like a year and a half at this point, and I have not approached them again because I don't know. I can't say, yeah, you want to do this, and then find out we're not going to go that way.
Right.
Walgreens sells Samerton's bags.
Walgreens was the place at Exit 20, because we know we did an Exit 20.
Yeah.
They said they would the last time.
And you said Shaw said they would. And we can check at Hannaford's and see if they would.
We can. I didn't think of Hannaford's because they're in Franklin, but that would still be okay for that end of town.
Right. Or, well, I mean, Tractor Supply is good too.
Not everybody goes into Tractor Supply, but I'm guessing a lot of people from your neighborhood or in that general area of town might not want to go all the way to Exit 20 to get stuck in the aisles at Market Basket or fight the traffic or whatever.
Are we going to have them available here at the town hall?
We should. Absolutely.
Both Joyce and Catherine said they'd be a part of that effort.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken with Cindy yet. I wanted to see where we were going to go with this, but I would certainly ask her, because she's the point person on this.
Right.
You know, people walk in, there's Cindy and Kim, and do they want to take this on? Would they shift it to Catherine? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we have enough people that come into the town hall, that would be a convenience for them too, if they could
Absolutely.
take care of that.
And we could
Same
either
time.
sell them, or the senior center could buy a box and give it to seniors. They might know who, you know, or whatever. Full price has to be paid somewhere along the line. So, but that's a separate thing. And I talked to Dennis about some in the Public Works Department. He said he's not set up to take money. Just with, then you'd have, you know.
But he takes it every week.
Occasionally he does, but to sell retail to people that just come in off the street, lots of times there isn't even anybody there. So he would prefer not to. He'll do what he is directed to do, no doubt, but that was his
Right.
Feeling on that particular subject.
Yeah.
It seems to me they could sell them Saturday when the dump is open.
And maybe that's the way to go. I mean, I've got no problem. It's convenience, we can make it. I'm totally good with it.
I thought, this might be misinformation on my part, I don't know. I was under the impression that if we started recycling, that the facility wouldn't be open as much.
Has to be. Town meeting dictates that it will be until they
Okay.
change their minds.
Okay.
And
have to-
there would have to be dumpsters there for C&D, for household burnables. What are you going to do with your mattresses? In any case, we've got to have we have to have a single stream dumpster and an MSW dumpster for the people up on Pest House Road
Right, and yes,
who get no
Service.
pickup.
right.
So we have to have two dumpsters and some construction dumpster things for those kind of projects. The cardboard and paper dumpster, not so much.
Right.
People want to recycle, they separate the cardboard because we have a cardboard dumpster.
Right.
And of course, that is the thing that generates the most income per ton. But, again, that dumpster costs us. It costs us to get it dumped, and we realize a profit through the NRRA for that. But if we go single stream and people are putting their cardboard and their papers and magazines now in their single stream stuff, don't have to go to the transfer station in order to do it, is it worth us keeping those particular dumpsters? Maybe not. But for the first quarter, at least, I would suggest we leave it just the way it is and see where it goes.
True, yeah. Well, just so people know, though, that if they're going to take their trash, it has to be in the appropriate bag.
Yeah, well, the ones I talked to one of the Pest House Road residents, and they actually had all their single stream, and they were ready to dump it. It's like, no, not yet, but soon. We were discussing that, and she says, well, I can still dump my garbage here. Oh, yeah, we'll have a dumpster, but they'll have to be in the town bags. Oh, yeah, no problem, I'm all about that, and so forth. So I can't foresee any big changes for a year anyway, and then just see where the transfer, what it evolves into. That would be my guess, anyway.
The town meeting language dictates that we will duplicate as much as possible as what we had down at the 99 site.
Well, at the end of the year, and when we're getting ready for warrant articles and whatever, we can look at the data that we have at that time and then go, and we should probably keep the cardboard ones until that time too.
Yeah.
And just, it is what it is, and then make decisions based on information instead of guesses.
Yeah.
So is there any feelings about the sale locations of the bags?
I think as long as you distribute them equally all along the town line, the main highway, your idea before, like the smoke and barley there, and maybe at the other end at the Winnisquam Market.
They were all about it when I
Yeah,
approached them before.
you know, that gives people somewhere where they don't have to drive too far in order to get their bags. As far as exactly which stores, I don't know that I particularly care, as long as you spread it evenly throughout the town, so that,
His first name's
say,
Tyler.
Winnisquam doesn't have to drive all the way over to Tractor Supply to get bags. I think that's the important part. Make it whatever can be made that's most convenient for our townspeople. But I do think that if grocery stores will go along, but I mean, obviously, if they say no, there's nothing we can do about that.
Correct.
Well, if you've got the town hall, like Brant, Lawrence, Shaw's,
Yeah.
Walgreens, Town
Probably
Garage
will.
on Saturday, you won't?
Yeah.
He will, I said.
will?
At least that's what he said.
Winnisquam Market and
If he
Smoke and
doesn't, the
Barley, you
apps-
pretty well have town covered.
The apps said that they would down at the store. There'll be
good.
someplace downtown no matter what.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's plenty. I mean, if they're available here at Town Hall, that's a real easy location. And then we should make them available Saturday morning at the Town Garage.
Works for me. So, this week, I will go out and I will solidify as many of the locations as I can.
Okay.
I'll stop everywhere and I will go back to Market Basket and Walmart and give them one last shot at this. And I will come back with a list next week so that we can make an informed decision. You can't say, yeah, Billy Lawrence, we'll put him over at Billy Lawrence's based on a conversation that we had a year and a half ago. But if I've got, okay, Billy won't do it, but Mr. App down the street will, or, okay, that's fine, we can make decisions based on current information.
Right.
Everybody up for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have the information from Tim to decide on who we're going to buy bags from?
You know what, he never, I don't know, he's caught up with cars or whatever, but I was just looking for an email. I have yet to see, I have his verbal recommendation that we go with Waste Zero.
Yeah, I have his verbal, too.
Pardon me?
I have his verbal, too, with Waste Zero.
But I do not have a copy of that contract. He's
He wants to
satisfied
go
with
with
the
the
terms.
service. He wants to include the service.
Yeah, I know,
But it's the middle contract. I haven't seen it.
nor have I.
No, I haven't either.
And no decision would be made until we'd all had a chance to read it.
Right.
So I'll get Tim to send that out so that next Thursday, we can, again, make some kind of have an informed discussion.
Right.
If not decide, at least know why we're not going to. Or what changes we want or whatever.
If we're going to do that, I guess, I mean, we've all seen the emails and I've had phone calls. Is there a reason that we're not starting out selling the bags for the recommended and what was put on the warrant article? To start with those numbers? And, I mean, it would be nice if at the end of the year, the numbers worked out, we had more than we thought, at that point, then we could bring the cost of the bags down. But if we start out lower and we don't cover our costs, then we're going to be bringing the cost up anyway. I mean, I'm just wondering, why aren't we taking the recommendation that was given to us? Everything was set up on numbers, and that's what the voters voted on at town meeting, and they approved that.
My personal feeling is those numbers were created to finance pay-as-you-throw. The consideration wasn't taken on the income of our citizens in the town. It will create somewhat of a hardship on a lot of them.
But they voted for it.
A portion of the
What,
town voted.
100 and, how many people do we have? 100 and,
Maybe 150.
yeah. So,
Well, there's nothing we can do about that. If they
well, we
won't
have to
come, they won't
recognize that when you say they voted on it, they voted on pay-as-you-throw and it's going. But we also, our responsibility as selectmen to recognize, and the fact is clear, I mean, I have the statistics.
Yeah, well, what's the household income? You gave the median income.
I always look at medium, no, I don't look at medium income, I look at
What's
per
the house-
capita income, because medium income can be thrown off by those few families who do make, you know, 100,000,
I have
200,000.
information that says the household income in Tilton is significantly higher than the number you quoted.
No, it's because I look at per capita income.
As a guy who doesn't work, my income is low.
$24,894.
My household income, not so much.
Is the per capita income in Tilton, New Hampshire. So that's the average income for
Is what?
$24,894. So if you compare... Per capita. If you compare, there's 248 communities in the state of New Hampshire on this list. We rank 198.
True enough. The only thing I would say at this point is to reiterate that we cut a third of the revenue out of the program by lowering the bag price. And it may not work the way we hoped it would work at the end, because the bag price wasn't capriciously set because this town is doing this or that town is doing that. It was set according to raising a certain amount of revenue in order to pay for those bags, or pay for that recycle truck and that pickup in those bins. We're not looking to make money for the town. I voted for the $1.50. I'm apprehensive. I don't know what's going to happen at the end, but we can always take a look at it along the way and say we're falling horrendously short, or go visit it next year. But I'm scared because it was based on a certain bag price. I understand Catherine's concern, and I share that concern. There's people that don't have $24,000 coming into their house. They just don't.
We just looked at a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that. And I'm not sure how to address that yet, even though I know it needs to be addressed. But that does not negate the need for a certain amount of revenue to pay for the cost, which is why the program was set up and why the voters voted for it.
Right.
But if you, I mean, whether you take that cost out of your pocket to buy bags, or you add it to your tax bill, the cost is the cost is the cost. I don't care what you call the fee. You're giving money to the town of Tilton, whether it's through your property tax or bag fees, to pay for getting rid of trash. This whole program was designed, it's a gamble. You're gambling that people will buy bags, lots of bags.
Well, or they'll
The
get rid
percentage
of
of
their garbage
bags
somewhere else,
is
and our
critical.
MSW line goes down.
So, yeah, I mean,
The point of it is to get it to work. Part of the cost of the bags is to give people incentive to want to make it work.
It is.
And, you know, if there are other communities, like I understand Laconia just put in recycling, but they don't have a pay for bags. Now, you know, in my mind, it would seem like if we can get the people of this town to recycle in great numbers, then this time next year, maybe we can get rid of the whole pay for the bag system, because then we won't need the incentive anymore.
If the MSW goes down enough, then we'll end up paying the exact same as we would for MSW, plus we'll get the recycling basically for free, all right? And we can do away with pay-as-you-throw.
for free.
This is an incentivized thing. I don't want to have to pay for garbage bags any more than anybody else.
Well, none of us do, but it's the idea that how do you get people who have never recycled to want to at least participate and be part of it?
And the
Education.
no.
Not by
no.
making them pay
I wish it
more
were
for
true.
bags.
Ask the Laconia City Council.
The fact
They
of the-
spend well over $120,000 a year for the last several years on trucks and men and equipment and getting the word out and educating, and their recycling is at 10%. So they were going to go
Must
to
be doing
pay-as-you-throw
something wrong.
to incentivize people
So people
to
don't have a choice.
recycle. They had a choice before, and they chose not to do it even though it was sponsored by the city.
It just seems like, you know,
You know what? The fact is that they went to mandatory, and they have an incentive too. They won't pick up your garbage unless you put out a recycle bin. And it has to have a certain percentage of recycling. How's that going to work? I don't know. But there's no free ride. And it costs them a lot of money. And they're talking about well over $1 million in garbage. Us, 300 grand. We're a little guy.
You know, the people that this bag fee is going to impact is families. People are having a hard enough time just providing for those families. Those are the people that this is going to impact, because those people are going to have a very difficult time. with this right up
Some
the
will.
front.
Some
So
will,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I won't change my position, but the rest of you are welcome to.
Well, I value your opinion, Catherine.
I just feel that we ought to get it every chance we can to make it work.
You haven't started selling bags yet. Think about it. Maybe I'll bring it up again later at the risk of being slapped around. Because I do feel it's an important issue.
Yep.
If we don't come up with we might have spun our wheels and done all of this for naught if it doesn't do what we said it was going to do by next year. Well, I mean, if I was somewhat uninformed or casually informed, I would say, well, they promised me this, I didn't get that, it didn't work, and let's do away with it. Let's go back to the way it was. I can understand that, I could see it, but we presented a certain set of numbers based on a certain set of costs, and we cut a third of it right out of the loop, right at the start. So that's all I have to say about that. It is what it is. They're $1.50 and $1. And let me see if there was anything else associated with that. I don't recall the websites being updated. The Tilton Recycles Facebook page has like 90 friends that are waiting for updates as soon as and right now I'm posting what's recyclable, what's not, and composting information and stuff like that. And when Best Way got the contract, they put that in there, and the bag prices, and as it comes up, and it's official, I posted it. People are like, when's it start? When's it start? When's it start? So there you go. That's all from me.
Okay, I had a situation, well, let me tell you the good news first. Senior Helping Senior this day on Saturday, May 4th, the Tilton School has got 13 groups going out to
Thank you.
different seniors, raking, trimming, doing lots of things in the yard. They have different groups going out, so thank you to the Tilton School. So if you're out and about and you see a group in the area, you're welcome to stop and thank them.
Think any disabled people on their list?
These are Senior Help and Senior. We can put disabled people on the list, and we do in the fall. We do also put them on the list, and Winnisquam, when they do their student council, we put them on the list. So if you know of somebody that I don't know of, let me know. I'll be glad to do that. Sunday afternoon, I got a phone call that there was a business downtown having a sale, and they didn't leave 36 inches for a wheelchair to pass by.
Somebody measured? Mm-hmm. Or the wheelchair couldn't get by?
Well,
Couldn't
we
get down the
had
sidewalk?
said we allowed
Yeah.
the tables and chairs to be out
Yeah.
there, but we had to allow them 36 inches and make sure that a wheelchair could get by. And the phone call I got, and a few text messages saying that this store was not abiding by that rule.
Have
And
they
it
been
was-
spoken to?
There was the consignment that has a once-a-month sale at the end of the month, and there's racks of clothes that are out
Can't block the sidewalk.
on the sidewalk. It wasn't blocked.
Oh,
Is that something our traffic person
It
could
might have had 35 3/4
check on when they have those sales?
inches or something. I was there, it was not blocked, but when I replied and said, "I'll be right down," don't worry, a police officer's there. So, my point is that most of our problems are beginning to come from business owners kind of going after business owners. You know, I mean, there used to be a time and place where people took care of each other. You know, they they, listen, I'm going to have this sale tomorrow, and, you have this sale, it just,
Seems like sad.
Doesn't work like that anymore.
it's really sad
But
that
it
it
is.
doesn't work like that anymore. It's like one person can't have a sale and make something of it, and it's been going on for years now. I mean, how long has she had that store there? Has to be, how many years, 7 or 8? At least.
Well, that's what I'm thinking of. She left and came back, but essentially, yeah.
Yeah, so, in quite a lot of years, as opposed to the other person that's not really had a business there that long, and it just seems like problems erupt all the time from that.
Small little things. And then go, make them big.
Can't we all just get along?
Did you hear that, camera? Can't we all just get along? Can't we?
So I'm going to say this on camera because I'm disgusted with it, but, and you know how much I love this. I explained to one of the business owners that we need to fill out the hawkers and peddlers so that, and then we would waive it. That's the proper way of doing it. And I was informed that the landlord now wants a piece of the action, wants to be compensated.
That wouldn't be our buddy, would it?
Yes, it has to be.
That is our buddy.
It's gotta be.
He now wants a piece of the
There's
compensation.
a shocker.
He does. However, he went under the guise of, my father wants a piece of it. My father would like to be compensated. So,
Next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
another time we'll talk about that.
what else? Well, of course, he was told no, but still.
Oh, God.
That's pretty much all I have.
Is his cart small enough that that would fit in that area
Yes.
by the parking lot, by the parking
Yep.
between the trees?
Mm-hmm.
Some way to fix it.
And the door front that he pays rent on.
Yeah, he already leases the property. so-
Exactly. So
Wow.
he's not going to get another dime. It's just unconscionable, but
Enough of that man, isn't it?
take it from where it comes.
Yeah.
Just unconscionable.
I'm just saying.
What are you just saying?
I'm just saying, like motion to adjourn.
I second it.
That.
What was your motion?
We never
To
approved the
adjourn.
minutes of April 25th.
Oh,
We'll do it next week.
we didn't vote on the adjourn. Do you want to do the minutes?
I don't think that's a
They're good.
debatable motion, technically.
No,
You can withdraw it, but
I'm no way.
No, we haven't done the minutes.
I'll do
We
it next
haven't,
week.
do we have to? Do you want us to slap our fingers and say we have to stay here until we,
somebody would
Approve the
have to
minutes.
withdraw their stuff because it's not a debatable motion.
He's got to withdraw his motion
Ain't
first.
doing it.
we have a motion on the
He's not
table
doing it.
already?
Withdraw the second. If there's no second, there's no motion.
You don't second a adjourn because there's no vote on it, is
When
there?
you make a motion, it has to be
Non-
seconded,
It's
as far as I
non-debatable.
know.
All right, second.
We'll get the minutes next week.
Yeah,
You know what? We deserve an early night.
yeah.
Three.
Great. I'm ready to fall asleep.
You?
Ready.
Someone shut the camera off. I want to tell you a story.
Aye.
Aye.
You know, it's non-debatable, you just told me. What is it? Non-debatable or not? Go ahead.
Motion to adjourn is non.
Motion's over with.
Procedure, folks.
Remember that you can